Hello everyone, Anthony here. Good to see you, even though I can't, but good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. I hope you're having a good time, ready for your lesson. This is a lesson from the advanced course. It's the C1 45, Unit 45. We're going to start with the work with the groups, looking at the pronunciation. Now this work will help you not only to perfect your accent, your pronunciation of English, but it will also help you to codify certain structures, grammatical structures, expressions, phrasal verbs, everything. These structures will be a part of your hearing memory, your memory. By repeating and repeating, you will hear the sounds, you will hear, for example, the third person S, singular, present tense. It's a question of sounds. You know the rule. The rule is very simple. You add an S, third person singular, he, she, it. That's all. It's very, very simple. But it's a very, very common mistake, even at the advanced level. Why? Because the ear is not telling you, no, wrong. So we're going to work on that. We're going to look at a group. Let's start right away. Get here with the phonetics. This is the phonetics column. We'll start with that. I read it very slowly, very exaggeratedly, and you repeat. Then we go to the English. And I repeat the English line in a normal way, good intonation. Listen to me, mimic me, try to sound like I do, and let's get started. The students in the class come from many countries. Come from many countries. One of them is from Mexico. One of them is from Mexico. While another is from Iraq. While another is from Iraq. Others are from Brazil. Others are from Brazil. While others are from Algeria. While others are from Algeria. I have 3 books. 2 are mine. I have 3 books, 2 are mine. The other book is yours. The other book is yours. Meanwhile, I'll be here for another 3 years. Meanwhile, I'll be here for another 3 years. All the same, I need another $5. All the same, I need another $5. Despite that, we drove another 10 miles. Despite that, we drove another 10 miles. Anyhow, let's go to a movie. Anyhow, let's go to a movie. Anyway, let's not go to a movie. Anyway, let's not go to a movie. At any rate, let's stay home instead. At any rate, let's stay home instead. Why don't we go to a movie? Why don't we go to a movie? Why don't you come around 7? Why don't you come around 7? Why don't I give Mary a call? Why don't I give Mary a call? Shall I open the window? Shall I open the window? Is that okay with you? Is that okay with you? Shall we leave at 2? Shall we leave at 2? Let's go, shall we? Let's go, shall we? Let's go, okay? Let's go, okay? We love having guests. We love having guests. And we've got plenty of room. And we've got plenty of room. What do you think I should do? What do you think I should do? I wouldn't do anything. I wouldn't do anything. I'd wait and see what happens. I'd wait and see what happens. Electronic devices. Electronic devices may not be used during the flight. May not be used during the flight. Could you tell me? Could you tell me when to get off? When to get off? For Trafalgar Square. For Trafalgar Square. Wouldn't it be fun to learn sailing? Wouldn't it be fun to learn sailing? Okay, that's the first group. We'll stop for a second. I just wanted to remind you that if you click the subscribe button below, you will receive notifications. It will help my algorithm for the channel. Also, clicking on the notification bell, you will receive email for all of the new recordings that I will be doing, and that way you won't miss anything. So just click that button. Also, I wanted to say that if you I'll tell you after. Let's go back to the group. May I use your mobile for a second? May I use your mobile for a second? You may leave your name at the reception. You may leave your name at the reception. He might be here in a short time. He might be here in a short time. Might I borrow your pen? Might I borrow your pen? No doubt about it. No doubt about it. You should get one for yourself. You should get one for yourself. In any case, she should do well on the test. In any case, she should do well on the test. You'd better be on time. You'd better be on time. Or we'll start without you. Or we'll start without you. The meeting is supposed to begin. The meeting is supposed to begin at 10 o'clock sharp. At 10 o'clock sharp. It's rather urgent that you're present. It's rather urgent that you're present. It shouldn't be a problem at all. It shouldn't be a problem at all. I really must try to improve. I really must try to improve my living situation. My living situation. Quite honestly, you mustn't go on like this. You mustn't go on like this. That's exactly why I have to speak. That's exactly why I have to speak. With Karen today. With Karen today. Since she isn't here now. Since she isn't here now. She must be sick. She must be sick. She'll certainly be here tomorrow. She'll certainly be here tomorrow. The phone's ringing. The phone's ringing. I'll get it. I'll get it. She says she's going to be here at 6. She says she's going to be here at 6. In that case, I'm going to call it off. In that case, I'm going to call it off. I can't go on like this. I can't go on like this. Anyway, you can use my car tomorrow if you like. Anyway, you can use my car tomorrow if you like. A little problem here with the spacing. Yeah, here we go. Okay, can you use the satellite navigator as well? Can I use the satellite navigator as well? Could you be careful about talking like that? Could you be careful about talking like that? You could get me in trouble. You could get me in trouble. That couldn't be further from the truth. Okay, you've finished with the first part, the pronunciation part, the codifying part. If you have time, listen to it again, repeat. If you have a problem with one line, with one word, listen to it again, repeat. Listen to it again and repeat. That's the way that you'll learn. If you have any questions about the meanings, you can go down to the description. There's a list you can copy and put that into your favorite translator and check to see that you understand the meanings of the words. Okay, so we're going to go now. The grammar part. Yeah, we'll look at grammar from 45. Unit 45, starting out with a little and a few, a little, A few and few, a little and little. A few and a little give a positive idea. They indicate that something exists, is present, or is sufficient. Sufficient, yes. She's been here for only 2 weeks, but she's already made a few friends. The positive idea, she's made some friends, a sufficient number of friends. I'm very pleased I've been able to save a little money this month. It's a positive idea. I've saved some money instead of spending it all. I saved a sufficient amount of money. That's uncountable, okay? Little is used with countable, few for uncountable. Few and little without the A give a negative idea. They indicate that something is largely absent. Largely absent, not totally. Very plus few, very plus little makes the negative stronger, or the number or the amount smaller, whatever you're going to. I feel sorry for her. She has very few friends. She has few friends. You can just say that. She has few friends. It's a negative idea. She doesn't have many friends. She almost has no friends. D. I have very little money, or I have little money. I don't even have enough money to buy food for dinner. It's a negative idea. I don't have much money. I almost have no money. You can do exercise 1 here if you have the access to the site. That's the self-study site. Reflexive pronouns, very easy. Myself, yourself, herself, himself, itself, oneself. Oneself, yes, oneself. Plural, ourselves, yourselves, themselves. Compare A and B. Usually an object pronoun is used as the object of a verb or preposition as him in A. Jerry was in the theater. I saw him. I talked to him. A reflexive pronoun is used as the object of a verb or a preposition when the subject of the sentence and the object are the same person, as in B. I and myself are the same people, or the same person. We are the same person. I saw myself in the mirror. I looked at myself for a long time. We do not say, I saw me in the mirror. Reflexive pronouns are also used for emphasis. The speaker would say, I myself, strongly with emphasis. The emphatic reflexive pronoun can immediately follow a noun or a pronoun, as in D, or come in the end of a clause, as in E. Did someone deliver the report to Mr. Lee? Yes. Are you sure? Yes, I myself delivered the report to him. I delivered the report to him myself. You see, both of those are emphasis. The expression by plus a reflexive pronoun means alone. Anna lives by herself. It means alone. Sometimes, relatively infrequently, an object pronoun is used as the object of a preposition, even when the subject and object pronoun are the same person. Let's look at the example. I took my books with me. Bob brought his books with him. I looked around me. She kept her son close to her. Okay, why do we say that? Instead of I looked around myself, it's just choice. It's not really incorrect. Using you, one, and they as impersonal pronouns. Okay, in A and B, one means any person or people in general. One should always be polite. B, how does one get to Fifth Avenue from here? In C and D, you means any person or people in general. One is much more formal than you. Impersonal you rather than one is used more frequently in everyday English. You should always be polite. How do you get to the Fifth Avenue? Well, how do you get to Fifth Avenue from here? One should take care of one's health. One should take care of his health. That's not very good. One should take care of his or her health. Not even good with that. Notice the pronouns may be used in the same sentence to refer back to one. A is typical in British usage. one should always be polite. E is typical, sorry. One should take care of one's health. F is principally American usage. G is a little bit awkward, his or her. One should take care of their health, probably would be better. Did Anne lose her job? Yes, they fired her. They mine graphite in Brazil, don't they? Yes, Brazil is one of the leading graphite producers in the world. They is used as an impersonal pronoun in spoken or very informal English to mean some people or somebody. This is becoming also more formal. They has no stated antecedent. The antecedent is implied. In other words, they, the people Anne worked for. Did Anne lose her job? Yes, they fired her. Forms of other are used as either adjectives or pronouns. A final S is used only for plural pronouns. Plural pronouns. Others. Singular adjective. Another book is. The other book is. Plural adjective. Other books are. The other books are. Singular pronoun. Another book is. No, sorry, that's just another. Another is. The other is. Plural. Others are. The others are. So you see all of the different forms of this. The meaning of other is one more addition to the one already stated, already mentioned. So this is the idea of another. You already told me one, so you're telling me another. The meaning of other or others without the, several more in addition to the one already mentioned. Okay, so the book I mentioned, others, other would be in addition to that. The students in the class come from many countries. One of the students is from Mexico, another student is from Iraq, another is from Japan, other students are from Brazil, others are from Algeria. The meaning of the other, with or without the S, is all that remains from a given number. So the rest of a specific group. Okay, I have 3 books, 2 are mine, the other is yours. In other words, I mentioned 2 of them, the remaining one is yours, the other is yours. The other book. I have 3 books, 1 is mine, the other books are yours, the other, okay, these are remaining. Another is used as an adjective with an expression of time, money, and distance, even if these expressions contain plural nouns. Another means an additional in these expressions. I will be here for another 3 years. I need another $5. We drove another 10 miles. Okay, that's all for this other business. Let's look at the introduction to modals. Modal auxiliaries in English: can, could, had, better, may, might, must, ought, to, shall, should, will, would. Yeah, modal auxiliaries generally express the speaker's attitude. For example, modals can express that a speaker feels something is necessary, is advisable, permissible, possible, or probable. In addition, they can convey the strength of these attitudes. Okay, that's also very important, the strength, how strong these things are. Each modal has more than one meaning or use. Okay, each modal may even have one meaning in the positive, one meaning in the negative. You have to just learn them. Okay, here's the list again. Modals do not take a final S even when the subject is he, it, or she. She can do it, not she cans do it, or she can does it. Modals are followed immediately by the simple form of the verb. This is really, really important to concentrate on this, that it is the simple form of the verb. Only the sound is going to help you to do this. Only by repeating, by saying many, many times correctly, she can do it. She must do it. It's incorrect to say she can to do it, she can does it, she can did it. The only exception is ought, which is followed by an infinitive, but we say ought to because that really should be a modal phrase, ought to, just like going to and have to. He ought to go to the meeting. I, you, he, she, it, we, you, they, plus the modal, plus the infinitive, not to. Phrasal modals. Okay, here's where they are. To be able to do something, to be going to do it, to be supposed to do it, to have to do it, to have got to do it, to be used to used to do it, to used to do it. I used to do it. Phrasal modals are common expressions whose meanings are similar to those of some of the modal auxiliaries. For example, be able to is similar to can. Be going to is similar to will. An infinitive, to, plus the simple form of the verb is used in these expressions. Okay, so we have polite requests with I as the subject. May I please borrow your pen? Could I borrow your pen, please? You can put please wherever you want. May I and could I are used to request permission. They're equally polite. Note that in be, could I borrow your pen, could has a present or future meaning, not a past. Okay, it's exactly the same form, but it means in the future or conditionally. Can I borrow your pen? Can is informally used to request permission, even if the speaker is talking to someone he or she knows fairly well. Can I is usually considered a little less polite than may I or could I. So typical responses: certainly, yes, certainly, of course, yes, of course, sure, informal. So polite requests, you should understand these are your choices. Polite request with you as the subject. Would you pass the salt, please? This is different. This is not a polite request with I. This is a polite request with you. Would you please pass the salt? Will you please pass the salt? The meaning of would you and will you in a polite request is the same. Would you is more common and often considered more polite. The degree of politeness, however, is often determined by the speaker's tone of voice. This is important. Could you pass the salt, please? Basically, could you and would you have the same meaning. The difference is slight. Would you is like, do you want to do this, please? Do you want to do this for me? And could you means, do you want to do this, please? And is it possible for you to do this? Okay, it's a little bit difficult to catch this, but could has the idea of possibility. Could you and would you are equally polite. Can you please pass the salt? Can you is used informally. It sounds less polite than could you or would you. Typical responses: yes, yes, I would be happy to, be glad to, certainly, sure, informally. Incorrect to say may you pass the salt. May you is not used. May I? Okay. Only I or may we, but we is not really used so much either. Polite requests with would you mind? Okay, I'm asking permission. Would you mind if I close the window? Would you mind if I use the phone? In A, would you mind if I is followed by the simple past. If I closed. The meaning is, may I close the window? Is it all right if I close the window now? Even if I'm using the past tense, here closed and here used, I'm talking about a present situation. Typical responses: no, not at all. Of course not. No, it would be fine. Another possible response is meaning no. I don't know what's written here. No, just no. Asking someone to do something, okay? Would you mind closing the window? Would you mind repeating that? Would you mind is followed by the gerund in the meaning see, I don't want to cause you any trouble. Would you please close the window? Would that cause you any inconvenience? Typical response, no, I'd be happy to. Not at all, I'd be glad to. Sure, okay. The informal responses of sure and okay are common but not logical. The speaker means no, I wouldn't mind, but seems to be saying yes, I would mind. Native speakers understand this response, sure or okay, in this situation means that the speaker agrees to the request. Okay. Expressing necessity. Okay, let's see. We've still got quite a bit to go here. Have and must. Necessity or obligation. A and B, it's necessary for every applicant to take the entrance exam. There is no other choice. The exam is required. All applicants must take an entrance exam. All applicants have to take an entrance exam. In everyday statements of necessity, have to is used more commonly than must. Must is usually stronger than have to and can indicate urgency or stress importance. In C, the speaker is simply saying, I need to do this and I need to do that. In D, the speaker is strongly saying, this is important. Okay, C, I'm looking for Sue. I have to talk to her about our lunch date tomorrow. I can't meet her tomorrow because I have to go to a business meeting. Okay, in this case, this means that I need to do it and I need to do it quickly. D, instead, where's Sue? I must talk to her right away. I have an urgent message for her. This is just important, okay? Have to is usually pronounced have to, and it has the idea sometimes in the third person, has to. I have to be home by 8. He has to go home. He has to go to a meeting tonight. Have got to also expresses the idea of necessity. G and H have the same meaning. Have got to is informal and used primarily in spoken English. Have to is used both in formal and informal. Okay, G, I have to go now. I've got to go now. I have a class in 10 minutes. Okay, have got to go. H, I have to go now. I have a class in 10 minutes. And I have got to go. I've got to go, or I got to go. I got to go. I got to go now. Got to go. Got to get it. Got it. Got it. Gotcha. Usual pronunciation of got to is gotta. Sometimes the have is dropped. I gotta do it. Present or future, the idea of the past necessity is expressed by had to. There is no other past form of must when it means necessity, or have got to. I have to, I have got to, I must study tonight. In the past, all of these forms are reduced to one, I had to study last night. The lack of necessity and prohibition, have to and must in the negative. Okay, lack of necessity, when used in the negative, must and have to have different meanings. Do not have to is the lack of necessity. Okay, A, tomorrow is a holiday, we don't have to go to class. In this sentence, it is not necessary for us to go to class because it's a holiday. B, I can hear you, you don't have to shout. It's not necessary to shout. Prohibition, must not, instead is prohibition. Do not do this. You must not look in the closet. Your birthday present is hidden there. Do not look in the closet. I forbid it. Looking in the closet is prohibited. Okay, you must not tell anyone my secret. Must not tell, don't tell, it's prohibited. Negative contradiction, we have mustn't. The first T is silent, mustn't. Lack of necessity may also be expressed by need not, plus the simple form of the verb. You needn't shout. The use of needn't as an auxiliary is chiefly British, except in certain common expression as you needn't worry. Okay, advisability, suggestions, certainty, wow. Okay, we'll be a little bit late today, but that's what happens. Advisability. Should and ought to have the same meaning. They express advisability. This means the meaning ranges in strength from a suggestion This is a good idea. To a statement about responsibility or duty. This is very important thing to do. In A, this is a good idea. This is my advice. In B, this is an important responsibility. Okay, so A, you should study hard. This means it's a good idea, it's my advice. You ought to study harder. This is a good idea. Okay, drivers should obey the speed limit. Drivers ought to obey the speed limit. This means this is an important responsibility, and they mean the same thing, should and ought to. The negative contraction is shouldn't. You shouldn't leave your keys in the car. Ought to is often pronounced oughta in informal speaking. I ought to study tonight, but I think I'll watch TV instead. Oughta, you ought to go. In meaning, had better is close to should or ought to, but had better is usually stronger. Often, had better implies a warning or a threat of possible bad consequences. The gas tank is almost empty. We'd better stop at the next service station. Okay, had better here implies a threat or a warning of bad consequences. If we don't stop at the service station, there will be a bad result. We will run out of gas or petrol. You had better take care of that cut on your hand or it will get infected. Again, the same thing. You'd better take care of it. Just some notes here. Had better has the present or a future. You'd better do it now. You'd better do it tomorrow. It is followed by the simple form of the verb. It is more common in speaking than in writing. And the contradiction is better, you'd better. Sometimes in speaking, had is dropped. You'd better take care of it. You better take care of it. You better do it. You better not. Had better plus not. You'd better not be late. You better not. Ought to is not commonly used in the negative. If it's used in the negative, the to is sometimes dropped. You oughtn't leave your keys in the car. I'd just leave that. Don't use oughtn't. Expectations, be supposed to expresses the idea that someone, I, we, they, teacher, lots of people, my father, expects something to happen. Be supposed to often expresses expectation about scheduled events or correct procedures. The committee is supposed to vote by secret ballot. Is supposed to vote. That means that it's the correct procedure. In C and D, be supposed to. Okay, let's read the examples first. C, I'm supposed to go to the meeting. My boss told me that he wants me to attend. Okay, this gives the idea that someone else expects something or requires a certain behavior. Another example, D, the children are supposed to put away their toys before they go to bed. They're supposed to. It's like an expected idea of certain behavior. Be supposed to in the past, that's was or were supposed to, expresses an unfulfilled expectation. The speaker expected Jack to call, but he didn't. Jack was supposed to call me last night. I wonder why he didn't. That's like expectation. Okay, making suggestions with let's, why don't, and why, or shall I, or shall we. Let's means let us. Let's is followed by the simple form of the verb. Let us, let's not is the simple form. The meaning is I have a suggestion for us. Let's go to a movie. Let's not go to a movie. Let's stay home instead. Why don't is used primarily in spoken English to make a friendly suggestion. Why don't we go is like let's go. Why don't we go to a movie? Yes, it's like let's do this. I suggest that you come around 7, right? Should I give Mary a call? Do you agree with my suggestion? All right, D, why don't you come around 7? That's what I suggest. Why don't I give Mary a call? Do you agree? with my suggestion. When shall is used with I or we in a question, the speaker is usually making a suggestion and asking another person if he or she agrees with this suggestion. The use of shall is relatively formal and infrequent. Shall we is used as a question tag after let's, as in H. Okay, so let's go, shall we? More formally, okay is used as a question tag, as in I. Let's go, okay? Shall I open the window? Is that okay with you? Shall we leave at 2? Is that okay? Or you can just say, let's go, shall we? Or let's go, okay. Okay, degrees of certainty. We've got 3 more little exercises here. Degrees of certainty refers to how sure we are, what we think the chances are that something is true. If we are sure something is true in the present, we don't need to use a modal. For example, if I say John is sick, I'm sure I'm stating a fact that I am 100% sure that it is true. My degree of certainty is 100%. Why isn't John in class? What I'm saying is he's 100% sure he is sick. If I want to say 95%, he must be sick. If I want to give an expression of 50-50, he may be sick, he might be sick, or he could be sick. Those 3 sentences are the same in this way. Must expresses a strong degree of certainty about a present situation, but the degree of certainty is still less than 100%. So if I say, why isn't John in class? He must be sick. I am saying that probably John is sick. I have evidence to make me believe that he is sick. That is my logical conclusion, but I do not know for certain. Okay, so he is sick. Usually he's in class. When I saw him last night, he wasn't feeling good. So my best guess is that he's sick today, but I can't think of another possibility. But obviously I don't really know. I haven't been to his house. I haven't seen him in bed, so I cannot say he is sick. I just have a very, very strong degree of certainty. May, might, or could express a weak degree of certainty. Why isn't John in class? He may be sick, he might be sick, he could be sick. I really don't know. He may be at home watching TV, he might be at the library, or he could be out of town. You see, in all of these sentences I'm saying perhaps, maybe, possibly John is sick. I'm only making a guess. I can't think of other possibilities, okay? Degrees of certainty in present time when the negative 100% sure, Sam is not hungry. Of course, I'm not Sam, so I really couldn't ever be 100% sure, but 99%, look what happens here, could becomes 99%. So he couldn't be hungry. Sam can't be hungry. Also can't, this is the same. He can't be hungry. That I should emphasize that. Sam can't be hungry. 95%. Sam must not be hungry. That's less than. That's a 95%. Sam must not be hungry. Less than 50%. Sam may not be hungry. He might not be hungry. So could drops out of this category, goes up to 99%. Okay. Must becomes 99%, and it becomes stronger can't. Okay, so if I look at these again, what I'm saying is I don't see the ABCs, but the speaker is saying that Sam isn't hungry. Sam doesn't want anything to eat. He isn't hungry. He told me his stomach is full. I heard him say that he isn't hungry. I believe him. B, the speaker is saying that there's no possibility that Sam is hungry, but the speaker is not 100% sure. When used in the negative to show degree of certainty, couldn't and can't express the idea that the speaker believes something is impossible. Sam couldn't or Sam can't be hungry. That's impossible. I just saw him eat a large meal, a huge meal. He has already eaten enough to fill 2 grown men. Didn't he really say he'd like Did he really say he'd like something to eat? I don't believe it. The speaker is expressing a logical conclusion with must not. Sam isn't eating his food. He must not be hungry. That's the only reason I can think of. Okay, I don't know why Sam isn't eating his food. He may not be hungry. He might not be hungry. In this case, may and may not just gives a possibility. Okay, maybe he doesn't feel well. Maybe he just ate before he came. Let's look at degrees of certainty in the future. 100% sure K will do well on the test. That's 100%. 90% K should do well on the test. K ought to do well on the test. I'm almost sure, 90%. 50-50, she may do well on the test. She could do well on the test. She might do well on the test. This is the same as above. The speaker is guessing. Should and ought to can be used to express expectations about future events. In A, Kay has been studying hard. She should do well on the test. I'm saying that Kay will probably do well. I expect her to do well. That is what I think will happen. So she should do well, or she ought to do well. The past form of should and ought to is used to mean that the speaker expected something that did not occur. I wonder why Sue hasn't written us. She should have heard from her. We should have heard from her last week, or we ought to have heard from her last week. So something that didn't occur. Okay, so I am sorry about that little bit of a time there, but well, it wasn't easy. Modals are not easy. Listen to this again. Listen to it again. Repeat the expressions. Repeat the sentences. That way you'll catch it. You'll start to really understand this quite well and be able to use it. Anyway, see you next time. Bye-bye.